Hello, Roshana. Thanks for coming. Welcome to Money Monday. Student loan edition. See, all the things that we've gone through. Today is student loans. We are talking about student loans today, guys. All right, it's 12 o'clock. You know, I like to be punctual and love that you guys stopped by to talk Money Monday. Welcome. I'm Jayla Eaton. I'm your wealth best friend on my own financial, a business that I created because most Black women start on their own and they have to figure it out. So it's my goal to be somebody that you can talk to, that you can ask questions, and you don't have to worry about, how much is this going to cost me? Money Mondays are for you. So welcome. Hi, from Cali. So today is about student loans. And I actually posed a question about student loans yesterday. So feel free to go to that post and tell me, would you recommend somebody like a high school student, somebody considering a graduate degree, to get a student loan? Now, when you answer, feel free to tell us what your background is. Like my background is, I'm someone who has a student loan. So that may sway the advice, the recommendation that I give, because it's based on, I have 2 degrees and each one of them costs me money. And so I would love for you guys to continue that conversation, because I think it's one that we don't have enough, especially for subsequent generations. I found that it's very, very different answers depending on the generation. Like my mom was, oh yes, those are necessary. Feel free, you're gonna die owing somebody. Whereas my opinions now, having them, I'm like, I might have been able to do without this. Like me and Sally Mae don't have to be, always together, thick as thieves. So feel free to go to that post. But today is about understanding education debt. And it's really important that we understand education debt because there are 45 million people in the United States that have student loan debt. And that means only 30% of people who go to college escape without debt. So I want you guys to be part of that 30%. How do we get there? We have a plan. We know what's coming. We understand what's going on. Because the sad part about it is within 12 years of Black people obtaining student loans, the default rate is 65%. So that means more than half of the Black people that take student loans, that get student loans, that borrow, end up not being able to pay it back. And we don't want that because we got wealth to build. So it's estimated that about 40% of the students with student loans right now are going to start defaulting on them by 2023. Like I said, having a plan will get you through anything because it kind of removes the fear. You know what to expect. You know what you're on the path to do. So let's do it. Let's start. Let's start with federal loans because there's so much talk about those right now. And COVID has kind of changed everything when it comes to federal loans. So federal loans are backed by the federal government, and they're direct loans. They're your FFEL loans, Perkins loans, Stafford loans, and then you have private loans. Private loans are the ones that aren't guaranteed by the government, and you normally get those from like banks and other lenders. Federal loans have specified interest rates that are determined by Congress, whereas the banks, they get to pick and choose. There are benefits that you get with federal loans, whereas the banks, they do what they want. So Most of the time, people end up getting private loans because they don't qualify, or they've run out of and exhausted their federal loan options. The most important part is to know the difference, because right now, like I said, COVID has changed everything except for deleting our loans. Like, I'm still waiting. Where the hackers at? Y'all hacking everything else but Sally Mae. But I digress. So for federal loans, the U.S. government has suspended all the payments and they've stopped interest. So if you have federal loans, make sure to check to see if your interest rate says 0 and that payments aren't mandatory during this time. If you were already in default and your student loans were in collections or garnishment with federal loans, that should have stopped. No action should be going from federal loans right now. It should be you deciding that you want to make a payment or not, versus them just every month on schedule saying, where's my money? So this might be a good time to make some payments or to have a plan and start strategizing, because the best thing about having 0 interest, especially for those of us who have 6-7% interest rate federal loans, is that any payments that you make are actually, you're going to be able to see that drop the amount that you owe. Whereas normally it's like throwing $20 at $1,000 loan, and yeah, now you owe $1,040 because the interest is accruing. So most of the payment that you made goes to the interest instead of the actual loan. One of my strategies for you guys to think about is, grace period. This period for federal loans ends December 31st. So what you can choose to do is either make payments now if possible, or you can kind of stack away that money, see if you have an emergency where you have to use that money. If you don't, then in December, you make a lump sum payment of everything that you would have been paying during this time. And now you get to see your principal go down, because your payment today and the amount owed should be the exact same as it is in December, because there's no interest right now with federal loans. So it doesn't matter when you pay it, it's going to go down. So that's the nice part about federal loans. But you got to check to make sure you have the correct and eligible federal loans. And then for those who have private loans, because I have talked to a lot of my clients, they didn't know they had private loans, but they do. That's going to take some work on your part. You're going to have to speak to your service provider, your loan provider, because their options are going to vary. From what I've seen, the consensus is a lot of them right now are offering about a 3-month forbearance, which means you don't have to pay it, but the interest is still going and it's going to capitalize. So you don't get that benefit where with federal loans, there's no interest. Anything you pay is actually going to the principal. Right now, you just may not have to pay for 3 months. But talk to them. You might want to consider, even for federal loans, which I don't recommend, you have to be very, very careful. Refinancing. Like I said, I think this is a better option for private loan holders because interest rates are much lower than they have been. But like I said, beware if you have federal loans and you're interested in refinancing or consolidating them, make sure you don't lose your benefits. Because I did have a client that did that and did not know that. She was thinking she had federal loans and then she consolidated to another federal loan and she didn't. And now her payments are still going. And that's part of the reason why, despite having like 20 individual loans, they're all federal. So I'm keeping my benefits. It's just going to have to show up on my credit report like that. Oh, well, I get the benefits versus having an easy, seamless, like, okay, I have one loan, one lump sum loan, but now I don't get the benefits. Now I only have 3 months grace and it really doesn't matter because interest is still accruing. So I really want you guys to make an action plan, figure out what loans that you have, and then look at your budget. Is there anything that you can kind of stack away so that you can put it towards your student loan debt? Because what we want to do is escape student loan debt so we can continue to build wealth. Because as you see, every time I come for Money Monday, the stock market is back up. So a lot of people who were already invested are seeing their net worths go up. You may not be seeing your income go up, but your investments are going up. And that's what we want you to be able to participate in. So paying down your debt is the first way to get there. Because we don't want, Sally Mae taking it at 7% while you're trying to make it barely making 7% in the stock market. You're not really making any money. But it is good to have. If you can do both, pay down your debt and invest slowly but surely, the earlier the better. If you guys have any questions, feel free all throughout Money Monday. I'm here answering questions on my posts. We're going to be talking about student loans all week. I'm going for this all week thing, and I want various perspectives. We do have a question that I see that says, what's the common benefit to have when they're not consolidated? Like I said, with my experience, it actually hurts my credit, according to my credit report, that I have so many student loans with balances. But that hasn't really affected me. I'm still in the 800 club. I'm not actively trying to use my credit, so I really don't care about that. And I get to keep my federal benefits and my interest rates. So some of my loans are at 3%, some of my loans are at 6, 7. When I consolidate, it was telling me that my average interest rate that it was going to charge me was about 7 to 6%. It wasn't beneficial for me to consolidate because now I'm paying higher interest on a lump sum amount versus having a few loans that are at a nice little 3% or 4%. So I'm going to end up paying less by not consolidating. But very good question. And that's something that takes time and looking at, like, what are the benefits, what are the pros and cons of my individual loan. But I might have to do a post about that because a lot of people that I know just rush to consolidate to make it easier so that they knew their payment was going to one loan, versus some people prefer like a debt snowball method, or being able to pay the smallest loan off first so that they felt like they were doing something. It gave them that instant gratification, and then they could work their way up to the bigger and bigger loans. It's all about preference. It's all about what works for you. And most important, what's the benefit to you? What works for you? Because this isn't cookie cutter. It should be all about you, your finances, your situation. So you don't have to do it like anybody else. It's fine. Be different. That's okay. I appreciate you guys for coming to Money Monday. Like I said, we will be talking about educational student loan debt all week. So feel free to go comment on the post. I appreciate you for being here. And I will see you next Monday for another Money Monday round. And I'm here. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.